Hello and welcome to another episode of Curious Cat Crime Sunday with Shelby, and today's episode is going to be on the disappearance of Samantha Burnell. And let's get to it. Before we get started, I will have you know I made this video 4 times. 4 times. And no, 5. Because the last time I made it, I think I did a really good job. However, when I put all the videos together, I got like more than halfway through editing and realized that like one of the parts that was supposed to go towards the beginning was almost all the way at the end, and I just didn't want to deal with cropping it at the right time and not making it sound like I said, so I'm just gonna remake it because I've remade it 4 other times, so why not? The last time I hit poor Ziggy in the face with my mic stand. The first 2 times I used the mic stand and jingle, 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 and I was hitting it with my hand and just like it did my phone. Anyways, so let's get to the story, but I just wanted you to know that I must really care about this story because I have watched this episode 5 times to get this information. It's stuck in my head, or at least as much of it as I can, and I've remade this episode for you. This is the 5th time. So let's hope I do good and don't mess it up. Let's get to it. Samantha Burnell was 18 at the time of her disappearance. Her mother, she had originally lived in Alaska. I don't know if she was born there or if she just lived there for a good chunk of her life. She was very adventurous, her mother said. She was free-spirited. She was also very rebellious, she said. Very rebellious. And I mean, I was too, so but anyways, so Samantha at some point had went to her grandmother's house to live. I also did that at some point. And from there she had found this job, and this job was going to entail that she can travel around the United States selling stuff and getting food and free rooms to live in hotels. And she was like, go all around the United States? Yes, I'm going to do that. And she did. This is where she met Chris, who became her boyfriend and who she was dating at the time of her disappearance. Mind you, I'm looking at you, so I'm doing this all off memory, and I have a terrible memory, so I may go back and forth, but hopefully it will be coherent and it'll be a good telling of this story. I had trouble taking notes as there's not much information online. I watched this from an ID's channel episode of Disappeared. It is season 3, episode 11, and it's called A Mother's Mission, about how a mother ended up, I don't want to give anything away, but the mother helped solve this. So Chris, okay, she's dating Chris. They're on this they're in San Francisco and they're selling whatever they're selling, and Chris, as he put it in the show, said they were working them like slave workers. Like if you didn't sell a magazine that day, you weren't eating. Anyways, so Chris and Samantha, due to this, decided to leave this job, and they were like, we need to get to, Chris said we should go to my mom's house. And Samantha, mind you, she was 18. I think he was 20 or 23, if I remember correctly. Mind you, I'm doing it off memory, sorry. But I think that's how old he was. So she calls her mom. Now, a little backstory. Samantha did have problems with drug addiction. She would go on, go off, go on, go off. So she had friends that were addicts and then friends that were not addicts, but that she kept in contact with at almost all time, even when she wasn't contacting her mom. So that'll be important a little later. Anyways, she calls her mom. And her mom's like, what do you need? Samantha, what can I help you with? And she's like, do you need my dog's outside. I'm waiting for him to be done. She's like, do you need a plane ticket, a train ticket, a bus ticket? Do you need food? Like, what do you need? What can I get you? And she's like, please come home. Please go to your grandparents' house. Like, go where I know you're safe. Because she's just traveling out here all around the world, or the United States, you know? So it's got to be a little nerve wracking not always knowing where your daughter is. And she's like, no, we're going to go to my boyfriend's mom's house. She goes, listen, I'll get you the ticket. Mind you, I forget if it's a train or a bus, but I'm like 95% sure it was a bus. So we're going to go with bus. I'll get you a bus ticket, you two a bus ticket, if you give me Chris's parents' phone number. So she does, and she calls, her mom calls Chris's parents. All's on the up and up. So she gets them either the money for the bus or the bus. I forget how they did it. And they're sitting at the bus station. Well, all of a sudden, this group of people walk up, a small group, and they go, hey, we have a job for you. Guys interested? And they knew it was going to be sales. They had done this before, so they said, well, we'll talk to you. We'll see what we think. And so they go back to the hotel room they're staying at, which just happens to be next door. So they're there, and they're waiting for the rest of the team to show up. And when they do, they're like, hey, we want to go see a movie. Do you guys want to come? And Samantha's like, yeah, I'd love to see a movie. And Chris was tired, you know, he really, or for whatever reason, didn't want to go to the movie. He's like, babe, you go, you have fun. I'll be here when you get back. And they get hug and kiss, and she goes along with this group. They go to the movies. Excuse me. Sorry about that. That's gross. And, 1 second. Let me let my dog in. Okay. Sorry. Hopefully, no more distractions. So, she gets in the van, and they all go to the movies. Well, they come back. Chris is somehow outside. He's outside, and he's the first person that gets out. He's looking in the van. He doesn't see Samantha anywhere. So the first person that gets out, he goes, hey, you know, where's Samantha? Where'd she go? And he goes, oh, I don't know. She ran out of the theater crying. And he's like, so he goes to the next person, the next person, the next person, until he's asked everyone in the van. They all say the exact same thing. And he says in the interview part that's with him, he says, you know, I thought this was a little strange. Even if you don't know someone, you should go after them and see if they're okay. Like, it doesn't make much sense. I don't know about you, but if I was with a group of people and we had someone new and they ran out crying, I'd probably go after them. But I'm also a very nice person, so maybe some people wouldn't. Not saying you're mean, just maybe it's not a normal thing, but I would. And Chris seems to think people should have. So later that night, I think it was like 3 a.m., he calls Samantha's mother and says, hey, have you heard from Samantha? And she goes, no, you know, I thought she was with you. And he goes, no, she took off and I don't know where she went. Mind you, going back like a few hours in the story, he walked the hour it took to get to the movie theater from the hotel and asked the teller guy, hey, did you see a girl run out here crying? And he said, no, I didn't see anything like that. And then he walks the hour home. So then later, that's when he calls her mom. So she tells him, well, she does have a habit of running away. Something about her having a boyfriend in another state or another city or something and doing the same thing to him. So throughout this interview process, which if you know with ID channels is like pieces here and there, he's like, I can't believe she would do this to me. How could she just leave me like this? Like, he felt very abandoned, you know, as you would if someone's mom told you that this is something they just do, you know. But then Christmas comes and Christmas passes. And one thing about Samantha with her mom is that no matter what, drugs or no drugs, she would call or send a Christmas letter. There was never a Christmas that they were not in touch. And so when nothing came, and nothing came for a while after that, she called her local police station. Police station says, ma'am, we cannot do a missing persons report on someone over 18. It's just not how it works. Whatever. So she's very frustrated and she wants to do something. So she calls Chris's parents' number sometime either before or after. They don't answer. So she tries to find, and she was just trying to find the police precinct near there. So she calls, I think it said like three different police precincts. Sorry, that's a tongue twister for me. And she, not the right one, not the right one. Then one that says what was the number, gives him the number, and not only does he just say not the right precinct, but he hangs up on her without giving her like where it is. Okay, I'm baffled. This poor lady, her daughter is missing, ran out crying last time seen by anybody that she knew, and nobody's helping her. Right? It's crazy to me. She was only 18. So, anyways, about a year. I think they said a year almost to the date or something like that. This is the way they worded it. Her suitcase was found. Weirdly, her suitcase had a few things of hers, but mainly men's clothes, like hats and shorts and things and stuff like that. And the mom, gets a phone call and says, "Hey, we have found, Samantha Barnell," and if I'm saying it wrong, I apologize, but Burnell's luggage. And she says to this officer, "Sir, where did you find this? She's been missing for over a year." He starts to yell at her and says, "How could you not do missing persons? You should have done." And she goes like, "Stop. I tried. My precinct said you can't be over 18 and do a missing persons report. Then over there, they didn't help me at all, and one hung up on me." So he goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I'm going to take care of this for you. I just need her dental records and her fingerprints, and we'll get her in the missing persons system," right? So she goes, "Well, her fingerprints were taken when she ran away once, and they're the juvenile fingerprints, and I'll get you her dental records." And I don't remember if she sent them or if she drove them, but she got them there. And nothing. Just heard nothing for years. And there's a website, which I kind of made a fool out of myself in the last video, so I'm glad I'm remaking this, because I was like, hold on, let me check. It's called the DNA Doe Network. DNADOE Network. And you can search Jane and John Doe's based on dates, based on states. That rhymes. Sorry, not funny. Based on a few other attributes you can pick from. It would go based on what's visible or what's a guess. So if it's a skeleton, they would do a rendering of the face. It might not be exact, but it may look similar, right? So anyways, Samantha's mom starts going on these websites, and her husband, who I didn't know if, I think it's Samantha's stepfather, if I remember correctly. If not, they didn't iterate if it was father or stepfather. Anyway, so he said, "Listen, this is unhealthy. This is really, really mentally unhealthy for you to be on these sites all the time. Like, you gotta stop. It's not okay." And so what she would do is she would wait for him to go to bed to fall asleep. She's in bed with him. She waits for him to fall asleep. She stays awake. She pretends like she's sleeping. She gets up. She goes on the computer. She searches all night. Then before his alarm goes off, she gets back in bed, pretends like she's asleep. He gets up. He gets ready, goes to work, whatever. She gets back on the computer and searches some more. So after a while, she said specifically, I stopped caring what people thought. I was doing it all the time. I was obsessing. She said she kept thinking back to the fact that they wanted her fingerprints and her dental records. So she knew that this was likely that they were looking for a dead body, not her daughter alive. So this was the only thing she could do because they had not found her yet. So anyways, I'm going to put the photo probably here, because I also wanted to do a side-by-side of two photos. This is where, mind you, I'm saying probably because I'm not doing it while I'm recording. I'm going to do it in editing. Anyways, if you didn't know that, I'm sure you knew that. Now I feel dumb. But I'm going to put the photos here. This is the sketch she finds. So she finds this sketch and she's like, wow, that looks remarkably like Samantha. And she goes, except Samantha had curly hair, which she hated so much ever since she was a little girl. But I mean, it's like eerie, she said. It was eerie close. And so she wasn't sure because she had been looking at so many photos of so many children and so many people. And she was like, I'm going to send it to a friend and see what an outside perspective thinks. And so she does, and it's nighttime. And she has to agonizingly wait till she hears from this friend. And she gets a message back and she goes, that could really be her, is what this friend said. Okay? So she contacts the contact information, mind you. This site has like who to contact and where they are and all that. It's actually a pretty amazing site, and I'm glad they have it. This guy answers and talks to her and says, ma'am, this cannot be your daughter. Sorry, first. So she explains, listen, my daughter's missing. She's been missing for a while now. And he's like, well, what's her information? I'll pull it up. So she gives it to him. And he goes, man, this cannot be your daughter. And she goes, what do you mean? I mean, she was found dead the day she went missing in the same area. They look similar. Also, in the description, they post clothes if the person was wearing clothes, or rather, if a skeleton was found with clothes, because sometimes it can deteriorate. So it was the same type of clothes she would wear. So this is another thing, by the way, that made her think it was Samantha. So she says, what do you mean? Like, the clothes is like the same thing Samantha would wear, the same day, blah, blah, blah. So all this stuff. He goes, ma'am, hold on, my brain is slow and I'm trying to think of what the date was. I'm not 100% sure right now. I've made this since starting like 5 days ago. I don't remember. So whatever date she went missing, what date was in the missing persons blog or listing was the date that the gentleman at the office, or at the police office, and the mom talked on the phone, which, like I said, was a year after she went missing. So the guy goes, how can this be her if she was found dead a year before she went missing? She goes, no, it wasn't supposed to be that. This is the day she went missing, is the day you guys found her deceased. This Jane Doe. She goes, well, look at the dental records and the fingerprints. And she says that in her head, she's thinking, well, they must have done that. They must have ran them through, so it must not be her. And he goes, ma'am, there's no dental records or fingerprints attached to this. So I don't know, because it didn't specify. And like I said, the only thing online is like a wiki, and I don't like to do my research off that. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I just kind of like to read a whole bunch of stuff and make up my own telling of the story, but I'm basically going off the episode. So I don't know if she contacts the initial officer that made the missing persons report, or if the officer with the Jane Doe contacts him, but she said that basically the fingerprints for the juvenile record had been destroyed, and for whatever reason, even though she personally delivered these dental records, to my knowledge, to this officer, they never made them in the report. So what does she do? She can't get fingerprints, obviously. Those are destroyed, so those are gone. She goes back to the dentist's office, gets another set of records. And mind you, this is in California. She's in Alaska. So I believe she said she sent them and had to wait. And I'm sure, even not being a parent, I'm sure that was agonizing amounts of time to wait for an answer. Anyways, after the time waiting, she gets a phone call. It's a match. Now, that's the end of the missing persons case. However, there was the knowledge of what happened. Well, kinda. Okay? Hear me out. So she was in excuse me, a highway, right? Highway. And there's a median that goes like no direction because it's a median. And the highway is going the opposite direction on each side. As you already know, I'm sorry for describing that. But she's in the median. Nobody sees her get on the median that calls. Nobody they got a statement from saw her get on the median, but she was running as fast as she could. And then all of a sudden, straight, darts out. And gets hit by 2 cars, as they put it. And I doubt 2 cars would hit one person, but I think 1 car could hit her and the other car could then go over her because he's not able to stop quick enough. And due to witness statements along with the damage to her and both the car, it was said that due to the speed limit, there would have been no way for the car to hit her to stop in time to not hit her. The other weird thing that they said, not that that's weird, but what the weird thing they said out of all the statements is that nobody saw anyone chasing her. Nobody saw her get into the median or what got her on the median. Nobody saw anyone behind her. Nobody saw anyone chase her into the road. And like, people notice her. You notice a person on the side of the road, even though it's nighttime. They probably have lights on the highway or your car lights. So you see someone, you're like, well, that's weird. No one's supposed to be on the highway. At least that's what I would think. Anyways, so they did a talk screen, and I want to say there was nothing in her system. I might be wrong because, like I said in the last rendition of this video, I said there may have been like marijuana and or alcohol, but it wasn't anything like hallucinogens or like strong narcotics or anything like that that would possibly make her hallucinate to be running from something that's not there. So this disappearance case was solved. They did find her. Granted, it was a very long time later due to the mishandling of things by many people, and I'm sure none on purpose. Obviously, I'm not dissing police officers or anything. It's very, very sad. She was only 18. Again, I will show her photo here. Just a very, very beautiful life ended shortly. And with no real reason why. I think that's why I don't like unsolved cases, because I need to know who, what, where, when, why. So we know some of those. We don't know all of those. So even though we have a little bit of closure to this case, I'm still frustrated. And I don't know about you, but I definitely am. I want to know what made her get on the highway, what made her run into the road, what made her run out of the movie theater crying. Also, why did her luggage end up somewhere with men's clothes? Like, I don't know. I think I read too many conspiracy theories, but it makes me think like the people she was with did something. But it didn't line up as far as like the movie time compared to when she was dead. So, I don't know. I'm rambling now. It's late, so I'm going to go to bed. But I hope you enjoyed my video. Even though I did it a little bit differently, I was able to look at you more. Sometimes I forget and I look at myself to make sure I'm looking in the right direction. Like, oh my gosh, no, look at the webcam. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you do like this version more, I will do better at memorizing things and being able to look into the camera like most people do, because I don't know, I think that's better, but I do my best. So anyways, thank you so much for watching another episode of Curious Cat Crime Sunday with Shelby, and I hope you have a great week ahead of you. I hope you stay safe, be good to each other, and also, if you don't mind, hit like and subscribe and comment if you have an idea for the next video. Also, I've decided if you comment with an idea for the next video, I will put your name in the video. Now, I know I have a lot of subscribers as far as, in my personal opinion, not as much as like the big people, but I don't get that many comments, and it kind of makes me sad because I would love to have a conversation with people. The majority of the comments out of the comments I get are trolls. So anyways, I hope you have a great day. hope to hear from you soon. Subscribe and like, and I will see you next week here Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern. Have a good day. Bye. Oh, I didn't head off. Okay, bye.